Penguin Random House Audio presents Tough as They Come by Travis Mills with Marcus Brotherton. This is the author, Travis Mills. To all my fallen brothers and sisters of the 82nd Airborne Division. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua chapter 1 verse 9. Author's note. These days, I do a lot of public speaking, and there are two things I say to any audience right up front. I wanted to say those things to you as well. The first is that I don't hold the value of my service in the military above anyone else's. I don't think I serve better or harder or greater than any other soldier. I'm just thankful I was able to serve my country. If you were in the service or are serving now, no matter what your job is, I want to tell you I am hugely thankful personally. If you aren't a veteran, but you support our military service members, then thank you for the support as well. Sincerely, it means a lot to me. Second, even though I've been wounded badly, I don't think the challenges in my life are any greater than anyone else's. Sometimes, after people hear my story, they say, "Man, I don't know if I could ever press forward like that and overcome challenges like you have." But I say everybody faces challenges in life, big and small. My problems are no greater than yours. Simply put, yours are yours, mine are mine, and we're all in this together. I've been fortunate to work through my situation and lead a positive and fulfilling life again. I hope this book will motivate you if you need to get through a challenging situation. The key is that you've got to believe it's going to get better. Keep going. Keep persevering. You're going to get through tough times. Never give up. Never quit.
Forward. In his book, The Price of Their Blood, Profiles in Spirit, wounded Vietnam War veteran and former U.S. Secretary of Veterans Affairs Jesse Brown writes, "For every life unraveled by military battle, there are a dozen tales of individuals who have managed to triumph over the harrowing experiences of war and ruin." After his service at the Veterans Administration as Executive Director of the Disabled Veterans Life Memorial Foundation, Mr. Brown went on to create the American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial in our nation's capital, the first and only memorial honoring disabled veterans. Jesse certainly lived these ideas himself, and this quote is etched on a glass panel as part of this tribute to injured U.S. service members from all wars. These words perfectly describe my friend, United States Army Staff Sergeant Travis Mills. Serving with the 82nd Airborne in Afghanistan during his third tour of duty, while on patrol on April 10, 2012, Travis was critically injured when the blast from an improvised explosive device, IED, took portions of his legs and both arms. He is one of only 5 quadruple amputees from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan to survive his injuries. One would think that losing both arms and both legs would slow a person down. But with Travis, it seems to be just the opposite. He truly is one of those individuals who have managed to triumph over the harrowing experiences of war and ruin. I met this incredible young man shortly after he arrived at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, and like everyone who meets Travis, I was immediately struck by his amazingly positive outlook, his humor, his confidence, and his sense of gratitude for having survived the blast. While I am sure he has had his more challenging, discouraging, and darker moments in private, in public he never fails to spread joy and light to everyone he meets, and I know that his love for his wife, Kelsey, and daughter, Chloe, and their love for him are motivating factors for him to get up each day with a new attitude to look forward, not back, and to take on the world. Like the amazing Jesse Brown and his lifelong devotion to fellow disabled veterans, Travis is working to use his means to take care of a new generation of service members injured in battle. Whether speaking on behalf of his own foundation and his effort to build a retreat to assist wounded service members and their families, or traveling to raise awareness and funding for other military charities, Travis is constantly serving and honoring the needs of his brothers and sisters in arms. Personally, I am inspired by this resilient warrior, am proud to know him, and honored that he is an ambassador of the Gary Sinise Foundation. In the pages that follow, I know that you also will be inspired by Travis's story, a story of hope and resilience. It is a reminder that no matter what life may throw at us, as long as we never give up, never quit, as Travis says, we can achieve anything we set our hearts and minds to. He is quite simply a great American and an example for us all. Gary Sinise.
Chapter 1. A 15-minute helicopter ride from Kandahar. Early spring 2012. Only one boy played with his kite. The rest of the kids in the village of Maywan took the kites we'd given them and ripped them apart. They threw the shredded kites on the ground and spat on them. Then they went over to the boy who played with his kite and hit him and spit on him. The boy's lips swelled up and his nose turned bloody. They destroyed his kite too. When there were no more kites to destroy, the children glared in our direction, cursed and shouted anti-American slogans. A few flung dirt clods. Those Afghan kids were the best dirt clod flingers I'd ever seen. We shrugged off our chilly reception and adjusted our weapons. I checked to see that the security detail was all right near the perimeter of the village and reminded myself that this was only our first patrol in the area. You can't blame a kid for hating American soldiers when terrorists have spread lies about us throughout their region. I knew the Taliban were bastards. They ruled by fear. They hated us, and they also hated schools, elections, women's rights, and freedom. They slaughtered civilians, scorched acres of fertile farmland, stopped United Nations food shipments from reaching starving people, and destroyed tens of thousands of homes. The Taliban didn't even fight fairly. They were too chicken for that. They blended in among civilians and shot at us while they used their own school children for cover. They placed improvised explosive devices, IEDs, into the ground where anybody passing by could step on them, enemy, farmer, or child. No, I thought, these kids in Maywan weren't Taliban. They had no news, no TV, no iPods, no means of ever hearing anything different about us. No, they weren't to blame. I always kept in mind who the real enemy was. Clouds hung low, and wind whipped cold at us from across the desert. After our failed attempt at kite diplomacy, we sat down with the village elders and explained our purpose for being in the area. They gave us a warmer welcome. About 30 men gathered in a circle. The elders, shrouded in dark beards and flowing robes, nodded at us from underneath their turbans. No women were present, although once in a while a female figure would pass by in the distance. The figure would be covered in black from head to toe, no face, only eyes. We gathered out in the open in the middle of their town square, a primitive dirt crossroads in the middle of a cluster of mud huts. The lower-ranking soldiers set up a security detail and didn't join our circle. They kept their helmets on, their weapons ever ready, but the higher-ranking soldiers, the officers, and most of the non-commissioned officers, NCOs, joined the circle. We took off our helmets, wanting the elders to begin to feel comfortable in our presence, and we sat on the dirt or took a knee while they squatted on their haunches, a style of sitting they're comfortable with. We were served scalding hot chai tea as a gesture of their hospitality. At that temperature, the tea would be safe to drink, yet we eyed the cups closely anyway, knowing what havoc a microscopic desert bug can wreak inside a gut. The elders listened intently when we spoke through an interpreter, and when we shut up, they spoke passionately about their desire for freedom and security in their homeland. We communicated to the elders that we were in their region to help the Afghan National Army, ANA, gain a presence in the area. Maywan is only about a 15-minute Chinook helicopter ride away from Kandahar, the second largest city in Afghanistan, and a city that once had been the Taliban's headquarters. Ultimately, we wanted to push the Taliban out of the region and keep them from influencing the population. I knew the village elders were no strangers to American soldiers. As soon as our helicopters had touched down earlier the night before, the unit ahead of us had rotated out. We were just another spoke in the military wheel, and the elders nodded along with us and smiled and agreed that the Taliban were the bad guys. The elders didn't want them there either. They'd do whatever they could to help us, they said. I hoped the elders weren't just telling us what we wanted to hear. This was my third deployment to Afghanistan, and I knew by now to be wary of even the most sincere-sounding agreements. A quiet circle of village elders might indeed be our friends, but they also could have a Taliban member secretly embedded in their circle, or they might simply be playing it safe, declaring their allegiance to whatever military force was present at the time. I drained the last of my tea and stayed alert, always on my guard, always ready for an attack. I was even wary of the ANA, the Afghan soldiers who'd come all along with us on this mission. They stood near the circle, rifles in arms. They'd signed up to fight for their country and were our allies, our counterparts. During other deployments, Afghan soldiers had hiked along with us on almost every patrol we went on, and we'd help train and equip them.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?